Howdy y'all. Today I'm going to make a video for you about a large, low-cost expansion to my solar array. And I have been, go get it, Rona. I have been working on collecting used parts for this for some time, and I finally found some stuff that I think is going to work. And I'm going to do actually two rather large expansions, because what I want to do is improve the amount of power that I can generate when weather conditions are poor. My other option would be to build even more batteries, but that's very expensive. And to me, it seems like a better idea to have overcapacity in good weather times, like today's amazing, cool, sunny all day. But on a cloudy week, we'll be wishing we could create more solar. And you can make solar on cloudy days, just at a much lower rate. So even though I have been net zero in my house annually for the last 6 years, I need to be net zero on bad weather condition days. So what I want to do is almost double my capacity. So one thing I collected is some rail systems, and these have been used. You can see they're all different lengths. These have been used on systems before that were taken apart. A lot of the time we can get used parts from systems where houses have had hail damage on the roof, and they pull the system down to repair the roof, and then the owner wants to upgrade the system to new panels, more powerful panels, because a lot of times they're limited for space. And so in the limited area that they had on their roof when they first put the system in, and they put 250 watt panels in, now they can get 400 plus watt panels, and they want the additional capacity, and they can't just make their system bigger. Out here in the country, we have the ability to make our system bigger and just go ahead and use the used, less efficient, older technology panels and just take up a little more area. So these have been installed before. These are the large depth rail systems that can span 9-10 feet. Same system that I'm used on the current array, which means that the steel structure can be further apart and less complicated. Before we go any further, see, these are some of the panels that I found. I found a bunch of used panels, and these 4 of the 32 panels that I found were broken. And a lot of them had damage to the wiring. And I made a video showing how I refurbished these panels and went through and inspected them. And I'm sorry, y'all, my microphone that day was dead, and I didn't know it. And by the time I realized it, all the work had been done, and trying to create that video again would have been. So there was a really good, it was a really good video that I didn't get to post for you. I do intend to do it again, because I have another batch of panels that I need to procure. And some of the things that were damaged, like the wire would have a nick in it, and I would just shorten it and put a new connector on it. And some of them were like eaten off by squirrels and rats, and it might have been damaged all the way to here. I've got connectors that are very close. I took the panel apart, this box apart, to see if I could splice all the way in, but there's a crimp connector in there that you can't get apart, and so I was forced to just put a short connector here, and I'll have to build, in some cases, little jumper wires that run from there, because these panels come with wires long enough to put these in series, but if you cut it more than about here, you're going to end up with not enough length to tie one panel to the next. Here you can see is that rodent teeth? I'm not sure. But there was some rodent damage to some of these, and I replaced wires on a lot of panels. And I'll show you what it looks like inside this box, because here's one I took apart. These connectors are crimped where they enter, and I cannot get that crimp apart in order to bring a new wire all the way in to this connection box. Oh well. So I have also decided, because it's so difficult to find good welders, I have decided to build my own ground-based system, which means that after 45 years of being a wood guy, I finally have to get into the welding game. So I've always been limited by my inability to work with steel. I had a welder 30 years ago, and a stick welder, and I could use it kind of well, but I was never that good at it, and I finally gave it away to someone who needed a welder. And now I've decided, because welders are in short supply, I've decided to go ahead and get into it, because if we really want to have sustainability and the ability to handle any situation, we kind of need to be able to work with all materials. And steel is a pretty important material to work with. So I broke down, bought a MIG welder, bought all the tools to work with it, and I'm working on that welding skills. I'm getting there. I'm not really stacking dimes yet, but that's not too bad. And this is flux core wire. I'm gonna get a gas bottle eventually and get the solid core wire. I've collected a bunch of steel tubing. This is the support tubing for the addition, and I'm going to build an addition, and then I'm also going to build a whole new array. And this is the 2x2 for the legs. And oh yeah, more of that Baltic birch plywood, because I've still got 4 more boxes to build for my battery expansion. Yeah, there's a lot to do, y'all. All right, get the ball, Rona. Now, I want to show you where we're going with this. There's the existing array. And we're going to extend the new section. This array is 12 panels wide by 4 panels long. And we're going to extend it 2 more panels down the hillside so that we go from 48 panels to 72. And those panels, well, here they are. So these are the used panels that I located. There's 2 different batches. I have 17 of these blue ones. These are all Renesola panels from 7, 8 years ago. Similar in age to these. My array is 7 years old. I've got, these were 255 watt panels, and these are 250 and 245 watt panels. And they have some issues. These are in pretty good shape. They test really well. These test pretty well also, but they do have some issues. I don't know if y'all have heard of snail tracks before, but there's some damage that can occur underneath the panel, and sometimes it starts to look like a little snail trail. And what that is, those are micro cracks that form damage underneath the surface. that reduces the effectiveness of the panel, but they still produce a lot of power. These tested pretty well. In that video I showed the test results, the open circuit voltage on a sunny day, and they still test really well. So I suspect that these panels, rather than putting out, they're rated at 240 watts, and a panel rated at 240 watts is probably going to put out about 200 watts on a good day. And these might put out, from my testing, they might put out 190 watts. And so that's not great. However, these panels cost $25 a piece. And then when I showed the person I bought them from all the damage to the wiring, he said, well, we're going to adjust the pricing. And I don't know what that adjustment is yet. I haven't had to pay for them yet. But eventually I'll have to pay for them, and it'll be less than $25 a panel. That's really cheap, y'all. 10 cents a watt, less than 10 cents a watt. And so, here's what I'm planning to do. Come on, Rona. I borrowed a post hole digger attachment, auger attachment for the tractor. And what I'm planning to do is just extend this 2x3 tube. I'll weld onto that, and I'll extend that on out past a 12-inch, I'll dig a 12-inch deep hole in the ground, and this soil is brought in. So if I build on it, it's going to settle over time. So my goal is to dig holes all the way down to the original rock down at the bottom, and that's down about 4 feet. So let's see what we can pull off here. Make sure my camera woman stays away from the dangerous equipment. So this is an auger designed for digging soil. It's not going to do well if it finds large rocks. But it will pull some up. I'll stop it and get these rocks out of the way. It'll pull something like that out of the ground. Now I'll lift it up a little. Digs pretty quickly. That's not good. And when you hit rock with one of these, you should not try to go down through it. So I'm going to stop right there. I don't think that whatever's down there is going to want to come out. So I'm going to stop right there so I don't damage my teeth. And I'll pull this out. Come on, baby. Come on out of there. You might have to rotate it just a hair. So I will stop right there, and I will drop this down in a few times, and I'll clean out the dirt, and then I'll use a post hole digger to remove the rest of the dirt. But that got me down 3 feet into the ground pretty quickly. I have 2 more holes to drill. I've got one over here, and this is the second one. I've got 2 more to drill here and here. And then I will make steel plates with rebar that goes down into the concrete. I'll pour that concrete, and then I'll weld 2x2 legs up to the bottom of an extension of this 2x3 tube, and it will come on out cantilever over the leg, and that array will come out to about somewhere about right here will be the end of the panel. There'll still be room to drive the tractor around, and you can see when I put this array in, I had 2 different kinds of panels, because at the time I found some deals on panels, but I didn't find the deal on enough to do all 48. So I have 2 different kinds of panels here. And now I have 2 more kinds, and it'll all become one large array. This is a 12,000 watt array. And this one will probably be, I'm adding 50%, but it will probably be about 5,600 more watts, 5,500 more watts. And then, is that enough? No. So then I have enough steel to go ahead and build another array. Now this array faces slightly west of south. And that's good, because I get a lot of sun in the afternoon. And in our area, if you're going to have clouds in the day, you're more likely to have them in the morning, and then they burn off. Well, by the time they burn off, we're starting to get really nicely aligned for this array, and that's sweet. And so we will continue that. But in the morning, it's pretty late in the day before I start to make real power. So I'm going to build another array that's going to be slightly east of south. And that one will be right here. It'll run from the cow pen, the cow corral, run over this direction, and it will be 3 panels high and 8 panels wide. So that will add, if I get these same kind of panels, 240, 50 watt, that'll add another 5,500 watts. If I get a little bit better panels, maybe more. And this second section here, these current panels are AC coupled to my inverters. The new ones will be DC coupled, and they'll come in to the solar shed. And then these will be DC coupled, and they will come into the solar shed. And so those will actually charge the battery more efficiently than the AC coupled, because of fewer conversion losses. And Rona, you just want to play all day. So I wanted to get this video for you. I'm about to leave town, and when I get back, I'm going to build this system I just described to you, and we're going to commission this solar shed and get this house off grid. Before we took it off grid, I wanted to get more solar panels attached, and so that will be happening soon. I actually recently made a video where I took one of my batteries and I hung a 3,000 watt inverter on the side of it, and camera woman said, "Get over in the sun." I did a video where I did some work out on the ranch with one of my batteries in the back of the car with a 3,000 watt inverter. You know, a lot of those solar generators that you can buy, they are low powered. You know, maybe they can produce 1,000 watts or 2,000 watts. But when you start to talk about big power, they're limited. And the one that I built, the first one that I built, it was limited to 1,000 watts, and that wasn't good. So I upgraded it to 2,000 watts. But it's 2,000 watts at 120 volts. And recently, I had a company contact me wanting me to test one of their products. And I get these offers every day. And you can see how often I take them up on it. I just don't. Well, I got real excited about this one because this company has a product that uses the same cells or similar cells to the ones, LifePro 4 cells that I used in my solar generator, but it has a 3.5 kilowatt hour capacity, similar, but it has a 3,000 watt inverter, and it has the ability to join two of them together and creates 240 volt split phase. And I'm really excited about that because, you know, that welder, it works a lot better on 240 volts, and being able to take that welder out into the ranch and use it. Now I can use it on 110 volts, but it's very limited. But being able to take that out onto the ranch and use it without having to run a generator or handle gasoline and all that. Generators are big and heavy. Now these solar generators, they're not light, but I can lift it and put it in the back of the car. And to be able to work out on the ranch at 110 or 240, 120 or 240, without the noise and disruption of a generator, that just seems amazing to me. So I'm about to do a video testing this product. I hope it works out. And if the video works out and if we like the product, I'd like to go ahead and try to get a second one with the capability of hooking it together to make split phase. So that's coming up. I'm going to try to do that today. Got a lot of stuff to do before I leave town. I'm going to try to do that one today. I hope you're still watching, and I hope you'll hit that thumbs up, that like button, and I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already. It doesn't take you much to subscribe. It helps me a lot. And so thank you very much. I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a month. Well, I did. I just didn't make it with sound. So sorry. I'll try to do better. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.